welcome to the FPL USA Press Play podcast. We are on the other side of international break, and we have a special guest joining us, and we also have Mr. Black Wolf. Dan, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. It was a nice little break. I didn't watch a single minute of international football for the first time in a long time, I think.
A true break.
Yes. I mean, we're going to get into it, but, of course, we've came out of the international break with injuries that we're going to discuss, which was beautiful for me considering I waited to bench boost this week. So be ready for some ranting about that. But today we have a very special guest joining us, an FPL community favorite all the way from the UK. She has 2 consecutive top 2K finishes, including a 511th finish last season, beating even you, Brian. 17,000 followers on X, 7.8k subscribers on YouTube, a very popular figure amongst us all. And it's your first appearance on the podcast, the FPL USA podcast, so welcome. It's FPL Pickle. Pickle, how are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm a little bit nervous. They told me to relax. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I'm very excited to be here, and thank you for having me. It's fun to, have FPL to talk about other than Ross, I guess. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, you have absolutely smashed your first 2 seasons of seriously playing FPL, so truly incredible.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I got the 1.9k finish and thought I'm never going to get that kind of rank ever again, but then somehow 511th is insane. Even I can't believe that to this day. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm very jealous because I think when I was looking at last season, you beat me by like 1 point and 1 transfer, and I ended up on 533rd in the world. So very, very close, tight margins at the top. But it was awesome to follow your journey last year as you were navigating, I'm sure, having all the angels and demons on your shoulders every week, trying to really agonize over every single transfer you're making, trying to future-proof your team, but also find the differentials. And then on top of that, your partner is a very well-known YouTuber, Mr. Raptor, and he is probably has his own set of ideas that you're trying to balance. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, you're one of the more interesting couples in the FPL community, and just kind of how you balance out your gut reactions to what you see on the pitch, and then also taking in the data, and then having chats with Ross and your intimate circle. I'm kind of curious how that plays out every week.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one because, like you say, I watched Ross before we actually met. I was very into his content. So, I took in a lot of his advice when I played, but at the same time, especially more and more now, I'm a lot more independent with my decision making. I do look at the data, but also use the eye test, and especially my gut feeling. I really like to listen to my gut when if there's a player that I think may do well in the upcoming game weeks. I like to try and jump on them in good time. And it worked well last season. That hasn't really happened yet this season, but I'm hoping there's a player in mind maybe soon that I might go for then. But yeah, it is interesting, but it is quite funny sometimes because, especially for Ross, FPL is his work, whereas for me, especially when I was studying and stuff, like, it was nothing to do with sports, FPL was my downtime. So there's probably days where he's just been doing FPL all day, and the last thing he wants to talk about at the end of the day is FPL, whereas I'm there like on FPL tinkering, like, oh, what do you think of this? And it's like, oh, I don't want to talk about FPL now. It's been a long day. So that's an interesting aspect. But yeah, I do listen to his advice. So I know that he's having a bit of a tough start to the season as well, but he is a good manager.
Join the crowd, Mr. Raptor. Black Wolf and I are struggling.
Yes. Really?
Credit to you though. You've really created your own identity, have your own YouTube channel, and I think it's very, very entertaining. So you're a success in your own right. I do need to ask, why the pickle? I'm very curious.
Oh, well, I do love pickles. Number 1. Number 2, I made my Instagram account like 2.5 years ago, and to be honest, at the time it was meant to be a bit of a joke, and I never thought that it'd end up where it is now. It's like a serious thing, and I was like, oh well, I can't change it now. It's Pickle, so FPL Pickle it is. Yep, Pickles Pickle. The pun thing is quite good. I do enjoy that, and I feel like it's a bit different. I try to like be informative, but also have a more chill vibe to the content. So yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
love
it's
that. We
working
have
well.
enough serious FPL content out there, so it's good to lighten the mood. That's what we try and do around here, have some banter. But I'm
Mhm.
definitely a big fan of Rick and Morty. So when I saw the Pickle Rick little emoji as your avatar, I was like, oh, perfect. I definitely want to check out this account. And yeah, it's been fun engaging with you over the last couple of
Oh,
seasons. And
that's nice.
now, like we were saying before, it's been a really just interesting season. I feel like because of all the international breaks as well, we've just
Mhm.
had so many like small, short blocks of time frame. So I'm actually very much looking forward to the upcoming fixture pile up and hopefully making some rank rises. But so
Mhm.
far, it has been extremely challenging with a lot of the top picks not necessarily delivering consistent points, whereas we've seen those who have spread their wings and gone for the Declan Rices, the Caicedos, etc., spike a few really massive game weeks. So I'm curious to see, how your season's going, and then you can let us know how you smashed game week 11 as we kind of just review our scores since we did not record an episode last week.
Well, so in game week 11, I don't even remember how many points I got. It's terrible. Sorry, I only just came back from Budapest, so FPL's not been on my
Oh,
mind. Yeah, but
hungry.
yes, it was very good. I don't know whether you saw my really cringe post earlier, but I
We
had some
did.
pickles and I was like hungry for some pickles, haha. But anyway, so I got 59 points in the end, right?
Yes, you
I
did.
Impressive.
I Yeah, you know what? It was a good game week to be fair. I guess considering how lowly scoring it was, 59 was pretty good. I did activate the bench boost, which it didn't go great to be fair. It's not that it wasn't a bench boost that looked amazing in the first place, but I didn't really want to wait until game week 12 for the reasons that we'll probably talk about soon. Although there are a lot more injuries than even I anticipated. But yeah, so the game week itself, I think it was just a couple of players that really did well that resulted in me, piling up the ranks. Obviously, the bit of the bench boost helped a little bit. I think it was an extra 8 points, so not too bad. I think
Yeah,
it
eight
was,
points that's a little rough. You're always trying to shoot for like 12 plus, I feel like. But
yeah,
it's such a crapshoot when it comes to bench boost. And yeah, as Black
yeah.
Wolf knows, he still has his chip left. But Bucks, who is our other co-host usually on this podcast, he's tending to his day job and life in New York right now, so couldn't make the recording. But he had, I think, a 27-point bench boost, and then he passed some of that luck to me. I had a 22-point bench boost. So,
Oh,
it's
wow.
very much compared. I think those are both our personal records as well. Like usually it's like, 6, 10 points. So, and
Yeah.
anytime you can get like double digits, it feels like a good win. But yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
we have
this
your
season
team.
has proved even further that you should just play your bench boost when you have a full squad of fit players, regardless of how good their fixtures are. Because I've been
Mhm.
waiting patiently to game week 12 until I have good fixtures, and now I'm screwed. So
Yeah.
Oh,
just play
it's
it
so
whenever.
frustrating. It's so frustrating. I mean, how many injuries do you currently have?
Well, let's go through my team. I had
Okay.
in game week 11, I got 46 points. So I had a very good game week because I did not use my bench boost. And I brought in Tiago for Gyökeres,
Oh
who got
yeah.
his brace for 13 points. I
Oh
also
yeah,
have
fair play.
Chalobah, who got a clean sheet, Munoz, who got a clean sheet. And no one else did anything, but that was enough to give me a very big green arrow. And this week, for the first time in a long time, and I always regret it when I do it, I made an early transfer. So I took out Stack and I bought in Mbumo before the price raises because I don't have enough funds to get him otherwise. So I had a bench of, Dubravka, Senesi, Anderson, and probably Thiago on the bench this week. And I was going to bench boost. Now,
Mhm.
the good thing about that is even if I have 3 injuries, I have 3 very good players who can come in and cover them. I don't need to make another transfer. It's just frustrating when my bench boost looks so good just a few days
Yeah.
ago. But it is what it is. I have a strong 15, so I don't really care about if I have the odd injury or not. So I think I'm in a good spot still. I'm just going to play the bench boost the second I see all my players are fit, or at least 14
Yeah.
of them.
So you've decided you're definitely not going to do it. Do you not have any other free transfers you can use to?
Yeah, with the news that we'll get into this because there's a lot
Okay.
to talk about in terms of the injuries. Brian, you'd go through your team for Game Week 11.
Oh, do we have to? I numbed my brain for 10 days straight just trying to forget about my
We can
sorry
skip it if you
stack of a
want.
team. I end up on 30 points. Wow. Absolutely
Mm.
scintillating. When you have that bad of a game week, you're just hoping that the rest of the community does pretty bad. So the average was 38 points. So I got a nice 25% red arrow. But yeah, triple Arsenal defense. First time it doesn't come in. And they don't even get twos. They get all 1-pointers, those bastards. Oh my goodness. And then on top of that, Mo Salah with another blank. He's been one of my
Oh.
differentials. I'll be captaining him this week and just hoping and
Mhm.
praying that I can spike a Hall versus Holland captainers. But yeah, I also made 2 early transfers. So the transfer plans and captaincy shouts later in the pod will be a quick one for you and me, Black Wolf. But yeah, I had the reverse Christmas tree formation, 1 forward up top, 4, and then 5 at the back. And it's just a sea of blanks. So rough sledding for my team. Hopefully there'll be some moves to come, but I already made my 2 free transfers. And I'm very much in the position of playing FPL more casually this season. Black Wolf, you went through that last season. When it's rough, and especially with all the additional chips and all the hairy FPL hairy clones out there, it's a tough start to the season. So I'm trying to ignore the rank and price changes every day and just have a little bit more fun with it. But luckily, we have this pod to vent about. But 30 points, pretty diabolically bad. And then lastly, just want to shout out Bucks. He actually did pretty well, 43 points, and had some nice Saka points and Bumo points in his midfield, where a lot of other players just had a ton of blankers. So well done, the Bucks. He's closer to your rank, Pickle, than ours, but work in progress for the 3 of us. All right. Lastly, just want to shout out the manager of the game week in our FPL Press Play Palooza global mini league that we will be giving out prizes and shout outs galore each week. We had a 68-point outburst from James Stevens and his squad, 2026 FPL champion. Wow, some lofty goals that he is aspiring to with that team name. But had a 14-point haul from Emmy bleeping Martinez.
Oh, wow.
You can't make that up. And of course, he doesn't even own Semenyo, who I believe was the one who he saved the pen against, right? So very impressive there, 14-pointer from the goalkeeper. And no big deal. Just also starting Matty Cash in the back for 6 points. Double Arsenal defense. Saka, Bumo, Neto 9-pointer. João Pedro 7-pointer. So some really big differentials in that side. So 68 points. Well done. Overall game week rank of 56,000. And live rank of 292K. Very, very good. And like Pickle said before, if you're in the top mill right now, you're feeling very, very confident about a strong finish as you outlast a lot of the casuals that will drop off over time and hopefully rise the ranks. So well done to James Stevens. Now,
So
let's pivot.
I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say double Villa defense. That's very brave.
Yes. It's kind of frustrating. He has double Villa defense and he's 300,000 in the world. It just goes to show all this thinking and planning we do. It means nothing. I do want to quickly transition onto the international break because I think it's important to highlight mainly the injuries that happened over this international break.
You don't want to talk about Ireland and their hat-trick hero?
I mean, we could. Mr. Troy Parrott with the hat-trick. He was linked with Wolves at some point earlier this season.
Oh, really?
And I wish we went with him, yeah.
But really?
Good for him.
He did.
You can use all the help you can get there, Mr. Black Wolf. It's dire straits for your team.
I refuse to talk about Wolves this podcast. Do not do it. Anyway, the main injury I want to highlight from the international break is Gabriel. Now, he came off with what looked like a groin injury for Brazil. And I think the news that we've been seeing today that it's potentially 1 to 2 months out for Gabriel. A very popular defender in the community and probably the most expensive, most popular defender in the community. So a lot of people are looking to move him on now. We also see injuries potentially to Semenyo, although I
Hmm.
know he proposed to his girlfriend, I believe, during
Yeah.
the international break. So there's some iffiness there. I think it might just have been an international break injury, so he could
Yeah.
propose to his
Possibly.
girlfriend.
I would assume there's some extra massages involved trying to get him right for the weekend. So I'm
Hmm.
pretty confident he's going to have that flag removed come press conferences. But being a married man myself, you kind of have tunnel vision on that moment whenever it comes. So
Yeah.
Aw.
calendars for footballers absolutely insane. You're playing 60 matches a year, so I'm thinking that he just got the go ahead and was able to skip out of some of his international duties and go take care of the home front. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
and
hoping.
I think he might have done it on their 5th-year anniversary as well, because I saw that there was like a 5-year anniversary post, and later on there was the
Oh,
proposal. So maybe it was kind of planned out well, and yeah, like you said, they gave him the go ahead to take the time off.
see, this is why we have the expert Pickle on the pod. Some true research. We didn't even need TMZ here in the U.S. to or the tabloids to give us that info. So I'm very bullish on him. Hopefully starting because my bench is looking pathetic now with a couple other injuries.
Yeah.
Oh
The
no.
the other yellow flag we have with a popular asset is Enzo Fernandez of Chelsea. I don't
Mm.
think we've had any news from him in the international break. This is a lingering flag from prior to the international break, so I'm not sure what the news is there at time of recording, but he's at least a concern enough for people who are looking to bench boost to get cold feet on that. So I think he will
Yeah.
also likely be fine. However,
Yeah,
they're
as
playing
a
Burnley
Chelsea,
away, so if there is a game to bench him in, it's probably that one.
Yeah, especially before Arsenal.
Yes.
not to mention their
So
Champions League upcoming fixtures as well. Like there should
mm.
probably be, and that's something just macro for all the players coming up here when they're going to have a pile up of midweek fixtures in Champions League plus multiple matches just in succession in the Premier League. You know, temper your expectations. There are going to be a few times where your players come on for their 25-minute cameo and don't start. And you would think that most of the managers of those top sides are going to be looking at those cupcake fixtures where you're playing an opponent that you can probably get away with a half a game of rest plus. So I think I would probably hold Enzo. I don't think I would move him on unless you're
Mm.
really bullish on going for somebody like Soboslai or you don't have Sar potentially. Like those are some other candidates in the midfield. Some people are hot on Minte. Minta, you know my stance on Brighton, Dan. I'm a no Brighton assets the rest of the
No
year.
Brighton.
I've banned them. Even if they're is the best asset in the game, I will not own them this year. A self-imposed ban. Um, for my hatred of that squad. But uh, I think we'll wait until pressers. Burnley would be a great fixture. He's been dodging points though. Like I haven't been too keen on him as a pick. We're waiting to hear when Cole Palmer could be back. He's should be back relatively soon, but they're going to prioritize those upcoming fixtures in Champions League and then the Arsenal fixture. So, um, yeah, what I mean, he's also 6.7 million. If you have to bench him for one game, hopefully you have some depth to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. He has been frustrating. I mean, how he didn't get an attack and return last game week, I don't know. Like, he really should have done. It was insane how many chances he had. Um,
Yeah, the past
but
two
yeah.
game weeks even.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I feel like he was like this last season as well. I think I had him for a spell last season. It was kind of the same thing where like he was just points dodging all over the gaff. So I am concerned that it might be the same sort of thing. And maybe after Burnley, I might consider selling him, to be honest. But like you said, I probably won't sell him on just yet unless we get news.
Yeah, he's got 4 blanks in his last 5 matches. Not what you want to see in your FPL team. Chelsea is
No.
just too unpredictable for my liking. So kudos to anybody who went Neto. I'll like the high
Mm.
score of the game week has gone with Neto, and he's been scoring many more points than Enzo Fernandez owners. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Then you have here Mark Clivert picked up a little dinger too. Is that true?
Mark Clivert? That's a new guy I've never heard of. You mean Justin Clivert?
No, I said Clivert.
Oh, I thought you said Mark Clivert. I
No,
was like,
I didn't.
is
Did
that
I say Mark Pickle? I didn't say Mark.
I don't know. I just heard Clive, to be honest. So I think you're okay.
But
Oh,
yes, I think he is also.
what I said, Dan, I think is I see you marked down Clivert as in the
Yeah.
in the injury list.
He
Semantics.
is also yellow flagged. I don't think he's as popular this season as he was last season, so I'm
No.
not too worried about that one. The main
Yeah.
people are Gabriel, Semenyo, Enzo, and I think Timber is yellow flagged, but I bet he's fine.
Yeah,
Timber's fine, but
hopefully.
it's Cauliflower man. He pulled out of Italy, so he didn't play a single minute during international break. But hopefully that's just preventative.
I think they said he'd be fit for the 12, so I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. Speaking of those Arsenal defenders, let's talk about this huge issue of really the GOAT, one of the best players of the young FPL season, Gabriel being out. Ornstein has reported from the Athletic out for 1 to 2 months, potentially with a thigh injury. Absolutely
Mm.
brutal for the league leaders to lose him. But based on their systematic defense and just the way that Arteta has the team playing, they might be able to stomach it and still get a lot of clean sheets coming up. So, Pickle, what's your outlook without Gabriel? Does the focus shift to Saliba in terms of those headers? We've seen that in the past. I think last year when Gabriel also missed, all of a sudden Saliba cropped up with a few goals. He was the target man on a few of those corners. So,
Mhm.
kind of curious to see if he can step into that role and if they can still continue to keep clean sheets. So, what's your take on the Arsenal defense now?
I certainly think, obviously, it is going to make them a little bit weaker, but I don't think it's going to be a drastic thing. Obviously, Gabriel's very important for the team, and even attacking wise, has been very important for the team. We haven't seen as much from Saliba, so Saliba could potentially be an option. With, like you mentioned, maybe he becomes the target for set pieces and things. But I don't know whether I personally get him. I know that they've said 1 to 2 months, and I am somewhat if we get more news that it is definitely that period of time, then we probably have to think about shipping him out for someone like a Van Dijk. But I'm kind of tempted to hold him for now and wait just a little bit longer in case we don't get any solid news about the timeline, because I don't really want to sell him and then find out he's actually going to be back quite soon and then buy him back. I'd rather, because people have probably got quite a lot of money tied up in him as well. So I'm inclined to wait a little bit unless we get news that it's definitely going to be January or even longer. But yeah, so that's my thinking. I've got Timber as well, but I'm definitely going to keep Timber. I was even actually thinking of switching back to Raya. Weirdly, we'll probably talk more about that later. But I am a little bit tempted to do that in the future. But yeah, I think Arsenal defense is still decent. I don't really want to go without them just because Gabriel's out. You need at least one.
Yeah, the problem with this injury is at this stage of the season, even if it's 1 month out, we're talking 3 to 4 game weeks at this point. So
Mm.
I agree with you. I think if we hear it's 1 month, 2 months out, he's probably a sell before his price just plummets.
Mm.
And I think Virgil van Dijk is the obvious move. I personally would be looking to go elsewhere because I'm not a big
Boy,
fan of that Liverpool defense.
I'm just
Yeah, I know what
chuckling
you
because
mean.
I literally went with Van Dyke on game week 6 wildcard because I was flying from California to London to see Chelsea play Liverpool. So I'm like, I want Salah and Van Dyke. So game week 6 wildcard. And in the next 5 game weeks, Gabriel outscores him by next to 40 points. Like 40 points down. And that's where my season went in the shitter. And then I finally 2 weeks ago transferred Van Dyke out for Gabriel, and then this shit happens. You can't make it up.
Oh
It's just
man,
the timing of the universe when it's not your season.
that's
Super
rough.
rough, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think let's cover off a number of the um, replacements for somebody like Gabriel, and I think there's a few that we're sleeping on as well. So I'm kind of curious outside of VVD, who else would you look at in terms of defense?
Um, I'd possibly consider Cucurella. Because I still do, I know that Chelsea's defense data wise isn't amazing, but I think it's decent. And I'm so annoyed that I ended up putting Pope in on my wild card because Sanchez has just outscored him like by a fair bit. Yeah, that's been frustrating. So I think Cucurella, and he's been very attacking. I'd consider him. And especially if someone doesn't have a Crystal Palace defender, I'd probably consider a Munoz. To be honest, I think that'd be a very exciting pick. I have Richards, so I probably wouldn't double up, but if you don't have a Palace defender, I do like a Munoz. Or you could just, save a lot of money and go for a cheaper defender if you fancied. But I don't know. I feel like you want to have at least one or two slightly more premium ones. What do you think?
Yeah, I have Munoz, and he's just a pleasure to own. That guy is constantly forward. He's practically an attacker. He's really exciting to watch.
Mm.
This Crystal Palace team are playing Wolves right now, who are, as you know, are not in a good spot. So I fancy them to get some goals there.
Womp womp.
I know. But I agree with you. I think it's also the opportunity to downgrade and upgrade your midfield if you wanted to do that. Because I am not as set on Virgil van Dijk as some other people and content creators are.
I
I know they
agree.
have very good fixtures, but that Liverpool defense, they don't look solid to me. And I think we might see some rotation coming up. Not for Van Dijk, but for his players around him. I
Yeah, the
just
rest of
don't
the back
see them
four.
as a settled, solid unit right
Yeah,
now.
the right side's really not very good, is it, to be honest? And
Yeah.
I feel the same. Like, it feels like, especially if we defo want to sell Gabriel, Van Dijk does seem like the obvious one because of how good the fixtures look. But I'm the same. I don't feel as hot on it just because of how much, they haven't really had a good start to the season. And, things could improve and they've got good fixtures, so they probably will get some results. But yeah, I'm not as desperate to get him as well. I don't know. It might be one of those where I get a bit scared and like put him in, but
Same.
I'll have a think.
Having said that, he's an affordable defender with that Gabriel money. You know he's going to get 90 minutes. You know he's going to get defcons. You know he's going to get chances to score. So I do think he's a good asset. I'm just saying I do think there's the opportunity there to downgrade and upgrade your midfield if you wanted to take an alternative route.
I mean, it's
I
kind of
also-
crazy because people who are looking at wild carding this week or next week, they're thinking about Van Dijk as the only Liverpool asset because they can't figure out if they want to spread the funds to Salah, who's been a disappointment this season and not worth his price tag. And obviously his form is off as well. And then there's no winger on the left that's nailed. And then just the comedy of errors in the back line and the rotation between the right backs. It's just been kind of crazy. So Van Dijk kind of rises to the top as like the best no-brainer pick for their upcoming fixture run. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a player that, especially with the pile up coming up, if you just put him in and you don't have to worry about him for like 10 game weeks, which I do like because there's going to be so many other injuries that crop up when these players are playing 3 times a week that you're going to have to use transfers to move around some of your more premium attackers to try and spike those hauls in those fixture runs. So I think, he makes a lot of sense. I'm very curious, and people are sleeping on Manchester City's defense. So, Pickle, have you looked there at all at a Diash or even an O'Reilly who's on an excellent tear, just racking up points? I've seen him crop up a few times in the manager of the game week in our mini league because he's been putting in 6s, 11s, left, right, and center. So curious your take on maybe kind of going with a differential with the City defense.
I've definitely looked at O'Reilly because, like you said, he's looking very interesting. Obviously, played for England as well and did well. I do just worry though. It's Pep, you know what I mean? I think if you're on wildcard and you want a cheeky differential, I do quite like O'Reilly, as a punt. But you are going to be there every week worrying about the lineup. I know that he has been starting, but part of me still is a little bit concerned that Ryan Ain't-Newry's back, but there is AFCON as well. So there is the chance that O'Reilly does keep starting, and he does intrigue me for sure, especially because of how attacking he's been. But the minutes risk, especially for 5 million, I don't know whether I can do it personally, but I don't blame you if you go there. Like, I'm going to do a video tomorrow, I'm going to record it, and I have put him as a punt. Because I think it is a punt and it's an exciting one, but it does come with risk. I think it's quite high risk, high reward. That's my view on it. I'm not sure whether I would personally do it, but I might. You never know. But I don't blame people who go for it. I think it's a cheeky differential.
That's the problem with all of these Man City assets. We've even seen players like Doku, who I know you were tempted by at some point, Brian, in the past few weeks. He's went ahead and got so many points lately, but no one puts him in because you just have no idea.
Drafts.
You have no idea if he's going to start every single game week. And especially if you have a weaker squad. It's just you can't take that risk. But players like O'Reilly and Doku and Cherky, if they were 90 minutes every week, we would all have them.
Yeah, it'd be a no-brainer. It is
Yeah.
difficult. What do you guys think you would go there, or no?
I can't do it. I can't deal with Pep. It's so annoying. I did it last season, and it just derailed my season every single time he benched someone. And then I saw Gvardiol get 15 pointers every week. It was very frustrating.
Gavard made my team of the season for I spiked a bunch of his goals, maybe four of them last year, but even he's being rotated a bit. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, City as a team, I think, have been playing very well, and with the Gabriel news, like they really need to like step up and just secure a lot of 3-pointers, and then hope that Arsenal continues to falter and picks up a few draws. So now might be the time for them to really lock in and play a little bit more defensively. And just, I always think it's just like a focus thing with them, right? Like, I feel like sometimes they'll cruise to a 3-0 lead and then they give up, the odd goal at the end of the game. And you're like, oh, F me sideways. Like, there goes my 6-point clean sheet that I was banking. And that gets wiped in the 82nd minute by Lyle Foster or some other hooligan. So, I think they're worth looking at. Diash probably more nailed. I don't know if what the rate he's picking up DEFCON, but I just think it's like an interesting space to go in where, the Newcastle defense started really well with their expected goals conceded data, but now on the road they've been giving up 2-3 goals consistently, and so I think the play might be to swerve Van Dijk and go for a City defender, but it's most likely like Diaz is going to be 6s and 8s and 0 like 2s, right? He's not going to be getting you that 15-point potential, whereas you look at Munoz or one of those, even Gay, he's been putting in double-digit hauls. Those guys, I would say, would rise to the top of my list if you're looking for a more attacking defender for a team that, there are games where Crystal Palace just do nothing. They're like, oh shit, we got to play midweek. We got to park the bus, and then they park it. And then you'll see some 0-0s versus Brighton. And you're like, sweet, there's an 8 to 10 pointer for my defender.
True. Yeah, it's I would much prefer Munoz, to be honest, even though he's a little bit more expensive. I'd much rather have him than O'Reilly, but it's still an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, Munoz went up to 5.8 last night at time of recording, so he's an expensive asset right now. He did,
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and also for people that had Gabriel and Raya, you have to also look at the other Arsenal defenders like Timber. I know you have Timber, Pickle, but for people that don't, that might be an easy sideways move, because I agree with you. I don't see their defense taking much of a hit. I think they're just a solid team as a unit defensively. And I don't think losing Gabriel will make that much difference.
We assume Mascara comes in and just solidifies that spot?
Or him, or the other guy, Hincapi, however you say his name.
Yeah, I think Mascara is the more nailed center back between the two. So I'd like to see them. Obviously, you can delay. You don't need to take Gabriel this week, especially for anybody who made early transfers. Definitely do not move a defender for another defender for a hit. Like, do not do that.
No.
That's we say no hits this season, based on the number of transfers we're going to be given by FPL Towers. So, all right, let's move on. That's a lot of defender talk, but obviously he's just been an absolute stellar stud this season in terms of those double-digit hauls and being in everybody's teams except for mine. So now let's take a look and fast forward to the Game Week 12 preview section. Some of the top FPL matches to target for points. And I'll be honest, we've been really trying to pick out the matches this season that are going to result in points. And a lot of times they're not, the fixtures have not mattered as much this year in terms of predicting when your player is going to get a haul. So I don't know what trend that is. We'll see it in the pile up. Maybe a lot of these bottom half teams or the newly relegated teams will really feel the wear and tear of the season after they've kind of had that adrenaline pump of being back in the Premier League. But I think starting with Burnley and Chelsea, João Pedro owners who kept the faith and were just like, this guy is a problem I'll deal with later. Wow. he's trickled in some points, and you think he's a good option once again to maybe burn Burnley. So any other picks here? I know we talked about Enzo, and then Chelsea defense, mixed bag, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, part of me was a little bit tempted to get Sanchez back, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I got a bit frustrated with Pope, and well, we've got to hope. I think he should be fine, like with concussion protocols and things. I think he'll be fine anyway, but I was sort of tempted, but I won't go there. I obviously have both Enzo and JP, so I'm really relying on Chelsea doing well this game week. I think if they don't, then that will probably be me done with them, to be honest. But
Yeah, time to
I am
hop off.
lucky that I am lucky that I kept the faith with JP a little bit longer, and that he did actually get some points for me. They've been a little bit lucky, maybe, but I'll take it, to be honest. Especially last game week when like none of the forwards were really returning, other than Thiago and Haaland. So yeah, not even Haaland actually. He only got like 4 points, didn't he? In the end.
I also have
I was
Trevor
still
Chalobah
thinking
in this game.
Yeah. Sorry, just going back to Haaland. Even though he misses the pen, I was like, he still could get double digits, even missing a pen. Like, I don't know. He's just in such crazy form. Did really well during the international break away with Norway. They secured their spot in the World Cup for the first time in 28 years, I believe. So really excited to see him at top level international football alongside Odegaard and the rest of the squad there. Yeah, I mean, Chelsea is, as a supporter, it's been a mixed bag of a season. I feel like they are consistently playing kind of to the level of their opponent. Like they can, like Maresca's gotten them up for some of their bigger matches, like winning versus Liverpool and playing some of the other top teams like Tottenham. But then they sputter. You know, they couldn't do jack shit against Sunderland and a few other spots. So I'm kind of curious, like, can Chelsea like break down a parked bus at Burnley? I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And coming out of international break, there's always just weird crap that happens, you know, in the game week. So we're going to see some, you know, a few hauls, but then you're just going to see like 15 pointers from like Matty Cash or like some of the random players that are like aren't highly owned. And you're just like, oh, of course, none of us have those players. So
I was saying for this game, I have Trevor Chalobah starting. So I'm hoping they get a clean sheet. I'm hoping the guy even plays because I was kind of annoyed that he got called up for England as a backup. I was hoping he'd be at home resting. I mean, I know he didn't really play, but still, hopefully a clean sheet for Chelsea. Get me some points there.
Yep. Next up, Liverpool hosting Nottingham Forest. Are we going to see a very naughty game here, Dan?
And that was a poor pen. Yeah, I think, you know, if Liverpool are going to keep a clean sheet, I think this is the game they're likely going to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep a clean sheet. Maybe it's the game for you, Brian, that Salah turns up and finally gets that huge haul you've been waiting for. But that guy, something's up with him. I don't know if it's just aging, even though he's not very old, but I don't know what it is.
He's getting up there. He can't dribble past anybody anymore. That's his problem. Like he hasn't been as clinical in some of his finishes, but like he literally like he can't take anybody on. He has to like pass the ball and then try and run past somebody, but like take-ons, one-on-one duels, like he can't get inside the box like he has in previous seasons. So if you
probably a controversial comment, but like, I'd love to see a Liverpool team without him in just for one game, just to see how they play, to see if they can get a result, to see if they look a bit more as a team.
Yeah, that's something they should be doing in the Champions League because they've scored a decent amount of points. They should be going with that kind of alternate against, you know, Slavia Prague or whoever they play, like one of those random teams that you've never even heard of in Azerbaijan or wherever. So I don't think, you know, he is a very selfish, maybe not even selfish, but he's very much aware of all the records and ghosts that he's chasing to be one of the best players of all time. So I expect him to prioritize continuing to start in the league, but NFO, you know, new manager, Gibbs White's kind of starting to pick up his attitude that he didn't get his transfer and playing a little bit better. Igor Jesus maybe playing more minutes. I feel like this is like a 3-1 victory to Liverpool. But
I
I
see
don't know if
that.
I see the clean sheet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like Dyche Ball's doing its thing. And I feel, yeah, Gibbs White, I had him as a punt and he did actually do well, which was cool. But yeah, anyway, I feel like they could score. 3-1 is probably what I would say as well, to be fair. But you never know.
Yeah, and also just like Elliot Anderson is just IRL is so fantastic, and he's at the top
Oh
of
my
his
God.
game. I could see him kind of picking out a few moments where the defenders on Liverpool mess up, and he's able to really possess the ball and move it up the pitch and put NFO into scoring position. So curious to see
Speaking of
how that plays
Elliot
out
Anderson, he got
on
the
pens.
penalty last week on
A
pens last
cheeky
Yeah,
week. That
pen.
was a surprise for his owners.
I know. Very lucky, but fair play if you had him, because that's a
Yeah.
very, very, very rare punt to have at the moment.
last week was the moment where if you had KDH putting in a 9-pointer, or you got a 9-pointer from from Elliot Anderson, you're flying, right? So we got to shout out our guy at FPL_Conte, part of #FPL USA. He's having an absolute barnstormer of a season. He had 55 points, live rank 6.4K. He is absolutely having a dream season, and he gets the Elliot Anderson 9-pointer, and he hasn't even wild carded yet. So he's in a position to have the dream season that maybe we had last year, Pickle.
Man, jealous.
Jealous. Yeah, very jealous.
Well,
Okay,
try never having a season that good.
I know, maybe I'm being a bit selfish. I'm like, let other people have
I
it
think
for
you're
once.
both being very selfish.
Yeah. I think it's because like once you get it, once you PR once, you're like you get addicted to trying to, increase your performance from that point.
You have higher expectations for yourself. I'm like, 900k, that sucks. Need to get, but no. To be fair, at this point, it's not too bad. But yeah. I'd like to be top 50k. That's my aim for this season, if possible.
Yeah,
I'm always just aiming for top 100k at this point.
Yeah.
Low expectations makes it a lot more fun to play.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot more difficult with just more engaged managers the last few seasons. So I think after, look at your rank after we played the first half of Chips. So come game week 20, you'll have a good sense of where you want to set your expectations and set the bar for your goals for the end of the season. But before that, what do we think about this Newcastle City match? So at St. James Park, Haaland obviously just in scintillating form. Is he the no-brainer captaincy option once again? Or I think they've played some very cagey matches, especially I feel like when the Newcastle team is at home, they get away with a couple extra kicks to the back of the shins, maybe a couple extra elbows flying around in those set piece situations. So curious to see what are your expectations as a Haaland captainer? Are you expecting 8+ points, or are you expecting him to brace in any match he plays?
I think he'll score. I don't know whether he'll score more than one, but I think he'll score. I've heard that Livramento may be back for this game, which is a good thing for them, but of course Dan Burn's out, so that's not ideal. And then Pope should be back, but we don't know 100% yet whether he's definitely going to start. He probably will. I think it's been long enough since his injury, but Newcastle defence hasn't been quite as good as I thought it was going to be honest with you. It's been disappointing. I know that the data looked good, and then since Livramento's been out, they've struggled quite a lot, I think. And so I expect Haaland to get something. So I think I'm fairly comfortable captaining him, but there are definitely some other options, the likes of Saka and Mateta as well. If I had Mateta, I'd be quite tempted to captain him, actually. Don't know what you guys think
And
about
why is that, Pickle? Is that because the opponents are just really, really quite pathetic, or what's your reasoning for Mateta?
Well, as a Villa fan, it makes it a bit funnier, no offence.
Oh, you're a Villa fan? Oh, wow.
Offense given. Offense given. Give it to Dan. In your face.
Yeah, I'm a Villa fan, so it's not nice to see. It's kind of sad, but you guys are not having a good season at all. It's been bad thing after the other, hasn't it? Injuries, Strand Larsen's not been fit, really. You have red cards, injuries. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not working, is it? And I think Palace could, even with the international break, I think they could destroy you, to be honest.
No, I
So,
agree. This game could go either way. Either we could continue to be terrible and Crystal Palace smash us, or we have Rob Edwards now, who I know is not a great manager, but one thing he
mm,
does have is the ability to bring the team together, to get the stadium loud, to get the
mm,
players wanting to play again. So that there is a little bit of manager bounce potential there, but
mhm.
yeah, I just Crystal
What do you
Palace is
think,
so
Dan?
good.
How many changes to the starting 11 does the new manager make?
I don't see him making a lot of changes
Okay.
initially. Um, I think we'll see kind of a similar 11. I think we'll probably see him adopt his three at the back formation. Um, really, I've been sticking. I'll talk about Wolves for a second. I've been saying this all season.
Wolves corner,
Genuine, yeah.
60 seconds. The countdown starts now.
There we go. I genuinely believe our squad is not bad. I think if you look at our players, we have a very good team in there somewhere. However, this Vita Pereira, he just lost the dressing room. Our
Mhm,
ownership have lost the fans. The players looked like they didn't want to play. Vita Pereira was falling out with all of our best players like Andre and João Gomez, who really should be starting every single game. They're that good.
mhm,
So I think finally having a guy in there who just, puts his arm around these players, gets them playing again, gets them fighting, gets the fans back and with the team, gets the stadium loud again because it is a loud stadium when it tries to be. I think there's a potential there to get some results. I just think it's a little too late at this point. We've already lost to all of the teams around us, and it's going to be difficult.
yeah, it's
That's
gonna be
my
tough.
that's my Wolves
Man,
corner.
it feels like it was only a couple months ago when Wolves are going on their longest unbeaten streak in the Premier League, and it's crazy how quickly things can change for
Yeah,
kind of a mid-table team that goes upon tough times. And obviously, you sold Cunha right at Nori for 100 million
Mm,
plus, and you've barely reinvested that money, and it can definitely tell in the side. So that falls back on the owners, quite frankly. And so it's a
mm.
tough spot to be in. But yeah, we gave you about 67 seconds there for Wolves Corner. We'll give you the bonus 7 seconds because you've been having a tough time. But
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mateta,
pity.
Sar has been dodging points. He's been dodging
Oh,
points
He has.
in fantasy. So he's been crushing it whenever he plays Liverpool and Mickey Mouse competitions, cup competitions, who knows what they're called, but he needs to deliver at least a 6-pointer coming up here.
oh yeah, he's so frustrating. Last season, I was more of a Mateta Eze kind of girl. I was not a SAR owner. It did go in my favourite at the time. I'm a big Eze lover. But I decided just because of like money and stuff, because my team value is not very good. I decided to go for SAR, and he had been performing, but yeah, it just nothing so far. So I'm really hoping in this game he can get something for me. Otherwise, I'm going to get a little bit frustrated with him too.
I would say, Dan, at least you own Munoz because this has a 15-pointer written all over it for a player like him.
Oh, I have Munoz, Sa, and Mateta playing in this game.
Okay, there you go.
Oh,
The classic emotional hedge, just in case everything goes just wildly poorly.
If I get 1 point for each of these players because Wolves win, I will take it
There you
happily.
go. There you go. All right. Next up, want to highlight what we're thinking about Manchester United assets. So obviously, the big focus of the fixture swing has been talking about the likes of Liverpool and who the picks are. But when we look at Manchester United, they have Everton at home, Crystal Palace away, West Ham at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home in the next 5 fixtures. So very curious to hear if either of you have plans to bring in Bomo, or like I like to call him, Evil Brian, and or go for somebody like Bruno. I think those are the only picks right now until AFCON happens, and then maybe Cunha rises to the top. We did see Sesko, I believe, go down injured. He might be out for up to a month. So curious to see if Mason Mount comes in and that pushes Cunha up top. So yeah, let's talk about United a little bit, as we have a lot of United fans tune in this pod.
do you? Well, I think I'm
Well,
not sure
there's just
about.
so many. There's so many Red Devils around the world, so you just
Yeah,
assume. I actually don't know 100% that they're always listening to this pod, but we got a few Manchester United supporters in our FPL USA group chats that are always ranting and raving about how Amrin needs to be more flexible. So curious to see what your expectations are for a team that what I like about them, they have no European commitments. They sucked so much
Mm,
last year. They didn't beat
yeah.
Tottenham. They got nothing to go for but the Premier League. So in a pile up, you're expecting their top guys to always be available and play 75 plus minutes. So curious to see how you would rank some of their assets and if you have plans to bring them in, Pickle.
To be fair, half of this household is Man United, so I understand that.
Oh,
But yeah, I know. Tell me about it. In terms of the assets, I think Mbeumo's probably the standout one, right? Like it's nice to see him become a good option again. I think I was kind of sad that he was leaving Brentford because he was the talisman of that team, and he was just a easy pick, I suppose. But it's been a bit more difficult this season because lost penalties and things like that. And we know that Bruno has missed a couple, but I think Bruno's still going to continue to take the penalties and things. So that's one thing that is a bit of a downfall. But in terms of value for money, I do think that Mbeumo does provide slightly better value for money at the moment. So out of the two, I would probably go for him. I just think with my team at the moment, I can't really afford him in any way, I think, unless I make multiple moves. And I don't know whether that's something I want to do this week, but perhaps in game week 14, after I free hit, I might think about changing my squad a little bit and putting them in. But what do you guys think? Are you planning to bring them in, or do you have them? Or
I mean, as I said at the beginning of the pod, I made an early transfer this week for the
oh
first time in
yeah,
a long time. I took out Stach, however you say his name, from
mustache
Leeds.
man.
Yeah, Mustache Man from Leeds, and I put in Mbeumo before the price rises because I had 0 in the bank.
Good
So I
riddance,
have
man.
Mbeumo in the squad, ready to
Good
go.
riddance to Stash.
I am
He had only
jealous.
0 points on my bench boost. I still got 22 points, and he didn't show up for a single minute. So good
Yeah.
riddance to that guy. Fuck him off to the sun. I'm glad you got Bumo in.
Yeah, I've put in Mbeumo. I do still. I see what you're saying, Pickle. I still do favor Bruno over Mbeumo, and if I could afford Bruno, I would have went there. Not just because Boomer's going to go to AFCON, but because of the pens. Because even if Bruno gets an
The
assist,
missed pens?
I know, but even if Bruno gets an assist, he has the potential to haul because he's going to get DEFCONs the majority of games, it seems, or at least get close to them.
Yeah,
He's the talisman in that team. Like if he has a good game, Man United typically win, and he typically gets the bonus points. Add an assist in there, it's effectively a goal. That little rat face, I just see him celebrating every week when I don't own him, and I hate it. I hate not owning him, let's say that.
Yeah, to be fair, I had him towards the start of the season. He did get me some points, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it does feel a little bit bad not having Man United assets at the moment. But my structure's I've got a lot of money in my forwards at the moment, so it's a bit harder to afford. Yeah, but I guess with the Gabriel situation, maybe that's an opportunity to, like you say, downgrade and then upgrade midfield. But
Yeah, I would
yeah,
say
I'm
for
not
you,
sure. I'm not
Pickle, with
sure.
like João Pedro, he's not going to be in your team too long. Like there's probably routes to getting one of these devils in your side soon, and then hopefully you can really dive in with your housemate, and he can make sure to pick out who the best pick is. But I would probably lean towards Bruno. My question is, if Bruno Fernandes were here on this pod, would he say that Dan has a rat face? I'm just saying, everyone calls him a rat face. We don't have that many lookers in the FPL community, so everyone's talk shit until they get it served back in their face. So you better watch your tongue sometimes. All right.
It's true.
All right, moving on. A couple more things to talk about. Very curious to just kind of like open it up to talk about our watch lists. We have a number of free transfers coming in a couple game weeks. So, what's your kind of overall strategy from game week 12 to game week 16 in terms of how you're evaluating it before we get topped up to 5 frees? And then who are kind of your top picks that you are really eyeing up for your team in this next fixture block? So want to throw that at you. Pickle, let's loosen up the pickle jar and see what the best pickle of the bunch is.
Well, so if I roll this week, I'll be rolling to 5 frees. So I've actually got a lot of free transfers.
Must
What
be
is going on?
nice. 59 point game week, and then she's got 5 frees. Oh man, I feel much
Yeah.
worse about my situation now.
Yeah, I wildcarded in Game Week 8 and I've just rolled ever since. So, yeah, if I do roll, which I think I probably will because I had a bit of a benching headache with my defense anyway, I'm probably going to roll and then probably free hit in 13. And then in Game Week 14, I'm probably going to use all of my frees or most of them to just move things around. Probably to get the likes of an Mbama in my team, downgrade one of the forward spots, probably get a Tiago in there, probably get a Mateta in there as well. And yeah, move the defense around a little bit. Like I said before, I kind of want to get Raya back in and move Timber out, but just because I don't know, there was this conversation around Wildcard 8 when people were saying I don't know whether Raya's that good value for money, and I don't think he's great value for money, but he's still cheaper than Timber, and they've been basically getting the same amount of points. So it's not like I've had much upside with Timber anyway. So I'm tempted to like flip back to that, and then don't know, just have a completely different defense. So I don't know. I'm not someone who plans crazy far in advance. I know a lot of people like to plan really, really far in advance, and don't get me wrong, I have tinkered, but I'm not set in stone with anything just yet. But I think the general plan will be in 14 to just use them all and kind of transform it. Potentially get like a Sobos line there if he hasn't still got that 4 yellow card thing hanging over his head. And yeah. So there's no set plan. I'm not some like magical being or anything. But that's the general plan. I don't know whether other people are thinking the same sort of thing or whether I'm in quite a unique situation. I'm not really sure.
You're very
mean-
unique, Pickle. I would say.
Really? Oh my goodness.
I mean, a lot of people are looking at free hit 13, and I'm also someone that doesn't really plan really far ahead. And the reason why is because, as we've seen this game week, if I do make a plan, one game week and it can all turn on its head. My original plan was to bench boost this week, free hit 13. No, not free hit, sorry. Triple captain 13 with Haaland at home to Leeds, and then free hit 16, because 16 is when you get 5 free transfers. So if you free hit that week, you get 5 free transfers going into 17, which is which is something I really like, and I'm still likely going to do that. The one difference will be bench boost. I'll just play whenever, even if I have to bench boost 13 players at this point. I'm just going to get it out of the way when it makes sense. I kind of like the idea this season, especially at this point of this season, to have a strong squad and not just a strong 11, because you're going to see rotation, you're going to see injuries, you're going to see problems occurring left, right, and center. So that's kind of my plan. But I think free hit 13 and free hit 16 are the two popular strategies right now.
Yeah, I think the chip talk here is a good moment to pause and talk about what, free hit 13. I mean, you're probably avoiding some of the Arsenal Chelsea head-to-head matchup, just knowing that it'll be a KG derby match. So, that's something. You have Manchester United playing Crystal Palace away, so maybe you actually swerve one of those assets, and then you triple up on City playing Leeds at home. That's a good triple captain shout. Haaland is fit, firing. It's a great opportunity, but other than that, I think triple captain, you're looking at West Ham at home in game week 17 as well. So I think those are two like really prime opportunities to triple captain that I'm looking at. I just don't think you can go anywhere else with your triple captaincy right now. Some people will be brave to play it on Salah or Saka, but I think right now it's just the floor is so much higher with Haaland. Like even if it goes wrong, you expect him to get a goal and get you 6+ points, whereas the other guys can blank a bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the community have already played the triple captain and bench boost. So for people that have like a weak bench right now and a strong 11, I think 3 hit 13 really makes sense, because then you can avoid Arsenal Chelsea. For people like me who have planned to bench boost later on, I don't have many Chelsea and Arsenal assets, so I can actually bench them and play an 11 without many of their assets. So I don't really need to free hit. My team won't be as good as a free hit 13 team for sure. But then I hope come game week 16, going into game week 17 with 5 free transfers, I will have an advantage at that point. So I think more than ever, strategies are so different this season with all these extra chips, these extra transfers. There's no clear double game week on the horizon, so whatever makes sense, go for it.
Yeah, it's definitely the strategies have definitely diversified
Yeah.
quite a bit this season. Like nobody really seems to be doing the same thing. Even like subtle differences. But yeah, I'm in the boat of I've already used most of my chips. Free hit's the only one I've got left for this half. So
For your free hit teams, do you guys prefer to avoid fixtures where your top assets are playing another top 6 team? Or do you prefer to be on free hit and target the bottom 4 teams in those matches? Like, what would be the priority for you? Obviously, in a perfect world, you're, doing both. But, in terms of upside, would you rather look at the fixture ticker and try and figure out, like, all right, who's playing Burnley at home, out of the top 4? Who's playing Leeds at home? Like, who's playing a few of those where you expect, there to be a lot of goals in a few of those matches? Just kind of curious your take there.
well, I'll be honest, especially for free hit 13, I have been a little bit tempted to punt on a Villa player or two against Wolves.
Yeah, do it. I like that.
I'm a little bit tempted. I'm someone who'd probably go for fixtures that look nice, but it's fairly safe, like not leaving out too many high EO players because I don't want my rank to plummet if it goes wrong. But I'm tempted to have a couple of punts like Buendia. I kind of want to punt on Buendia for a week.
That's fun.
Yeah, I know it's risky though because he hasn't seemed to start, but I'm kind of hoping that he will and will score loads of goals. But he's been doing most of the work this season because we've been we've been getting results and stuff, but we've not been very good this season, especially offensively. So, but
your
against
first 5 were terrible, and then your next 6 you've won 5 out of 6. So 15 out of 18 points in the Premier League. That's a massive run.
Yeah.
Is Morgan Rogers gonna start to come back into our thoughts at all, or do you think he's kind of just ticking along, and you're actually better off punting on somebody who's gonna potentially score more goals like Buendia?
I don't know. It's so difficult, isn't it? Because Rogers is a lot more reliable, and he had 2 potential assists last game week, didn't he? And none of them counted. So if anyone had Rogers, that was a bit of a shame.
Especially because they won 4-0. If you win 4-0 and Rogers got nothing but a yellow card.
Yeah, I'd be so fuming, I'm not gonna lie. If that was me. But yeah, I don't know. Rogers and Watkins has been very disappointing this season. I think he's just having a huge confidence knock. He does really struggle with that. Like when his confidence is knocked, he just like struggles to get out of it for a long time. So I don't think he's in our thoughts. And even Rogers, I'm just not overly excited by. I think just for this one game week, I'd want to like punt on like a Cash or a Buendia and just high risk, high reward sort of thing. It is risky though, but I am a little bit tempted to do it.
I think if you mix, like, if you get the really high EO players in there that everyone's got, mixed in with teams who have Wolves, Burnley, Leeds, those kind of teams, and then 1 or 2 crazy differentials who you have a really good feeling about. Whereas if they get 0 points or 1 point, no big deal. That's kind of the strategy I like to follow. So if you feel good about Buendia, go for it. If he gets 10 points, just think how crazy happy you'll be. If you get 0 points, oh well.
Yeah, I think like Ross always says to me about when you make a decision, what would annoy you more?
Exactly.
And it's either you do the move and it doesn't work out, or you don't do the move and it would have worked out. Which one would you be more annoyed about? And then you kind of make a decision from that. And yeah, I do try to stick to my gut feeling. And Buendia is one of those that keeps, he keeps popping up in my head to like punt on. So I think I should go for it because that is meant to be my motto after all. To be fair,
I think stick to kind of a template free hit with, like I said, a couple of crazy differentials, and Buendia is one that you can definitely go for, especially as a Villa fan.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you, as a Wolves fan, we're a team to target big time right now. So
yeah, especially at home as well. We are quite good at home. So
nice. All right, that wraps up our general talk about the FPL landscape for game weeks 12 to 16 before we get those free transfers. Now it's moving along to the what, Dan? What's it called? the mailbag. It's
Don't,
time for
don't make me
FPL
do
community
it.
questions. Here we go. All right. First question is for Pickle at My Cayman Fan, aka Matt, wants to know more of a lifestyle question. And he's asking about your experience as a female content creator in really a male dominated kind of FPL landscape. And then also having another popular CC as a significant other. So we definitely talked about Mr. Ross the Raptor earlier, but just wanted to learn a little bit more about your journey as a content creator and creating your own YouTube channel, and how you've gotten support from hopefully both male and female players across the globe.
Yeah, it's obviously interesting because there are female content creators out there, the likes of Holly, the likes of Yelena, and quite a few others. But there's still not many. Like you say, it's very male dominated, as football is, I suppose. And yeah, I've always enjoyed football, so I always like talking about it. And I think it's good that I had my Twitter following first. I kind of let that grow so slowly over time, and of course I've done well, and that's inevitably helped the following in a way. Um, and I'm kind of glad I had that little bit of background first, so that people on one platform kind of knew a bit about who I was before I started a YouTube channel. Um, Ross definitely encouraged me to do it. It's always something I've wanted to do, and this isn't my first rodeo at a YouTube channel. Top secret there. I had a YouTube channel when I was
Oh,
like 12 years old. I did it for about a few months and then like binned it off. But it's actually not my first rodeo. I've always been a massive YouTube fan, like, yeah, ever since I was like a young kid, to be honest. So it feels like a dream to be able to do it properly, not just screen recording on my laptop playing online games and things. Yeah, it's really cool, and to be able to meet and communicate with so many other people that enjoy the same game as you. It's really fun, and I definitely feel as though I'm getting better at it. Like, I do my own graphics, I record it, edit it, upload it. I obviously had a bit of support in the beginning from Ross, and he's been a big part to play in it, but I feel a lot more independent now, and I think it's nice that people actually want to watch me. I'm surprised. Like, I thought some people might watch, but a lot more people have enjoyed the content than I thought. So yeah, it's been really fun, and I appreciate all the support and things. It's nice that people accept me in the FPL space, I guess. I wasn't really sure
love
what the
that.
reaction would be. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
and
feel
that's
very
what I was
grateful.
alluding to earlier. I think it's really great that you have your own identity. You're very popular in your own right, not just because
Yeah.
you're the significant other of Ross. You really create really good content in your own. You've got great
Oh,
ranks as well. You're a pleasure to interact with on social media. So I think you deserve all of the following you have, and
oh, thank
wish you all
you.
the success in the future for sure.
Yeah, thank you. It was quite difficult at first because I was studying and like at university, and that's a really important exam. So like I'm hoping from now, since that's been over, that my uploading will be a bit more regular and things. But of course, outside jobs and things like that, you've got to balance on top of it. But to be able to do this on the side, if you will, it's a pleasure, and yeah, I really enjoy it, and it feels like 12-year-old me would be screaming 100%.
Lovely, lovely. All right, next question we have is from at FPL the underdog underscore. Is a mod a viable option with Sesko out? Mod or Minte in for Reinders was his planned transfer. And then, oh, he still has the bench boost. So, what are your
Mm.
thoughts on a mod? Do you think he's going to play more minutes, or is he kind of locked into that wing back spot?
Ooh, I don't know. He could be a viable option. He could be put further forward, but I'm not sure. To be fair, he is a lot better up front, isn't he? Isn't he? That's where he's meant to be. I feel like in the wing back role, he does look a little bit lost sometimes. It does seem to work, but it's not, where he's best. So it could mean that he's pushed further forward, but I'm not sure whether I would personally go there. It depends how much money they have. I guess if they've got Minte or Ahmad, there's probably not too much money to work with. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know whether it'd be my first choice. What do you guys think about it?
I mean, my assumption is that Mason Mount comes into the team. I think he's actually played quite well and stayed healthy. So I would expect him to come play left wing and then Cunha to be pushed up into the 9 position with Ahmad still staying in his right wing back role. So that's kind of like how I envision the team continuing to set up. Like we know that the manager is not flexible with his team, so he's most likely going to continue in that spot. I mean, Ahmad will definitely be more of a pick when Bumo goes to AFCON. So that's one to watch, game week 17. But for right now, like I don't like that pick at all. You're probably better off going with the Siegel and Minte,
Yeah, I agree.
or another player.
Yeah, I
Yep.
would say so too. Bench
All
boost
right,
looks
next up.
decent though.
Who's that?
That bench boost looks decent though. The one that they're planning.
Yeah, what do we got?
Doesn't look too-
Dubravka, Anderson, Dewsbury Hall, and somebody in the place of Reinders. So
I mean, it looks like his screenshot is before the Gabriel injury, so I don't know
very
if he's
true.
Oh, true.
debating that now, and Semenyo as well. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. Well, David will be in the same spot as you, Dan, where it's just like, well, I'm not going to bench boost this week, but I'll be able to circulate a few good players off the bench to deal
Well,
with.
it's a little
the
different
injuries.
for him though, because if he could just do Gabriel to Van Dijk, for example, and then bench boost with Reinders. I would if I was him. Anyway,
we'll see.
next
We'll
question.
see. It might be worth 2 transfers, to be honest, because Reinders is a problem long term. So there, if you were to go Gabriel down, you can get Reinders up as well. So you can look at some of those other 6.5. You could get Soboslai, etc. So a couple different ways for him to think about his squad. We'll see if he made early transfers or not. All right, next question we have is from @Barrister FPL. He wants to know, with Gabriel out, who are the best replacements? VVD, the only one. And then we also have a question on defenders from @NZPL1. NZFPL, I see. Wants to know the best City defender. So we talked about City defense earlier. Definitely a shout that I like as a differential as well. And then it also gives you something to root for when you watch a City match, because most people only have starting right now in their 11 is Holland, right? Reinders has dropped to the bench. People aren't starting him. They've binned him. So I don't mind going for a City defender like Diash if you want somebody just 6s and 8s, or potentially the upside of Nico. But anybody else, defenders, they're the ones bagging a lot of double-digit hauls. So it's a valuable slot to have.
Yeah, I don't know. In terms of replacements just as a whole, I think, like we mentioned before, Munoz is a good one. I'd maybe consider a Cucurella as well. Or even the likes of, like you said, if you don't have a Timber, maybe just switch to a Timber. With City, we talked about how, they're interested in punts, but it does come with risks. So if you're someone who's more willing to take risks, then I don't mind a City defender at all. But if you want to play it a bit safer, then I'd probably consider some of the other options I mentioned before.
Agreed.
Anything else to add, Dan? Any other picks?
No, fully agreed. I think we've talked about this earlier in the podcast. I think that replacements are very obvious in my mind. And in terms of City, I agree completely. It's a bit of a minefield for me, so I personally wouldn't go there. But if I did, probably O'Reilly, because he's cheap. Just bench him if you have to.
All right, there you have it.
Guardiola isn't the player he was last season in terms of returns. So
yeah, and he's obviously, there's now multiple players that are playing left back, right? He's never going to slot into that role. He's only going to play left-sided center back, where you have Ran and O'Reilly obviously deputizing on the left there. So all right, thank you again for engaging with us. Those are some of the FPL community questions we got in this week. If I missed any, we can answer those on social, so make sure to hit us up. Now we're going to transition to our last phase of the show and talk about our transfer plans and captaincy shouts. Dan, do you want to go first?
Sure. So, as I've said, I made a early move this week. I took out Mustache and put in Bumo, because my plan was to bench boost 12. Since I made that move, I have Enzo, Semenyo, and Gabriel all with yellow flags. I think Semenyo and Enzo definitely yellow flags, but as of today, Gabriel is going to be a red flag, I'm pretty sure.
Might look much better on Friday for those other 2 players.
Because of that, I'm likely not going to bench boost. I would be tempted, if I heard Semenyo and Enzo are 100% fit, there's a slight part of me that's tempted to take a hit and bench boost just to get it out of the way, but I likely won't do that. I have a bench of Senesi, Thiago, and Anderson, so even if
Sexy.
all three of those players are out, I have three good players coming in. So Haaland captain for me, I'm just going to probably just roll with this and not bench boost is most likely.
The bench boost, man. The fact that we did not bench boost game week 1 to get it out of the way, that is,
Yeah.
we got scared off of like, oh, well, Dubravka not start. Oh, well, these 4.0 is not going to play, and just carrying it on for so long is such a pain. And now you're going to have to use transfers to use it. And just the amplified effect of the chip is just so much worse when you use it so late.
I think I'm just going to make sure I have 15 good players until game week 19. And if at any point all 15 of them are fit, even if they're all playing Arsenal away on my bench, I'm just going to play it.
Yeah, and with the 5 frees coming in, if you use a couple of those to set up a bench boost, it's much more easy to navigate. Whereas if you use one of your coveted free transfers now and you got none the next week, like it's a tougher spot to be in. So
exactly.
Haaland cap, easy peasy. All right, Pickle, what do you got for us?
Same as you, Haaland captain. I think that's locked in for me pretty much. Again, with the Gabriel thing, it probably will be that he's out for quite a long time and we probably want to move him out before he drops too much in value. But part of me wants to just hold for now and roll because my defence would be Timber against Tottenham at home and then Richards against Wolves away. And then I had a bit of a benching headache anyway. I had Senesi on the bench against West Ham at home and I didn't really like that. So I feel like I might just bench Gabriel and put Senesi in.
Easy.
And hope that all my players play like Semenyo, Enzo. Hopefully they're all fine and just go with that. I think I'm just going to roll to 5 free transfers and then free hit in 13.
Yeah, I can give you another week to examine the Liverpool situation and see if VVD is really the player you want to bring in or if you want to swerve and go with another defender potentially. So rolling is always a good situation. You have so much flexibility the following weekend. You have good depth. So that all makes sense. All right, pivoting to my team. I made 2 free transfers a week ago and haven't opened up the app since. So it's been nice. As I mentioned, I had to numb my brain from the pain of a 30 bleeping pointer. And I am now sitting with a team where I have moved Reinders and Lyle Foster, who actually was my bench boost hero, came in for a 7-pointer versus Dan's Wolves. I binned both of those guys and brought in Thiago and Potts from West Ham. So moving back from the Christmas tree formation into a 4-4-2. I'm going to probably have to play Rodon instead of Gabriel this week, and then I'll reassess on what I'm going to do with the Gabriel slot later. I still have Timber and Raya, so I'm on double defense. Hopefully those guys come good in what is a little bit of a tougher fixture, home to Tottenham. So I guess my edge is maybe having double defense instead of triple defense since everybody under the sun owns Gabriel. So we'll see. But my big differential this week is Mo Salah cap. There's only a few opportunities to go against Haaland, and he's in my side for no good reason. But I think if I had Saka as well, I would seriously be considering, capping them. And, when you own the widest EO player in Haaland, going against them in a week like this when he's away at St. James, which is probably one of the top 3 toughest places to play in the Premier League, I think it's a decent shout. So, what is it? Fortune favors the bold. And if we saw a player like Jamie Pickett, who's one of the FPL champions of the world and part of the hashtag FPL USA community, he captained Saka last week and had a really big boost in his rank, 20 points more, up in that transaction. So, or thereabouts. So, that's something I would definitely consider if you are looking for other captaincy shouts. But that's a pod. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. You can find us on all social platforms at FPL USA Press Play. We appreciate you engaging with us as we continue to grow our podcast and our YouTube channel, which just started this season. And more importantly, let's give a big round of applause, some golf claps, and some extra love to at FPL Pickle. Tell them where to find you on all platforms. And thanks again for joining us. It's been lovely to chat and put a face to, obviously, another great manager in the community and having them on our humble pod.
Thank you so much for having me. I think I've only got the 2 platforms, really. It's just FPL @Pickle on YouTube and X. So if you want to find me, that's where I am. I'm there pretty much all the time, especially Twitter, usually chatting nonsense. So if you want to hear me waffling or see me waffling, then follow me. I appreciate anyone coming to engage with me. So yeah, and thank you for having me once again.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful. Dan, any last words?
My usual outro. I hope everyone has a great game week. Green arrows all around, and let's hope we see some of these yellow flags turn, I guess, not yellow in the coming days.
Disappear.
Yes. Fingers
Disappear.
crossed.
There you go.
That's
Hopefully.
right. That's right. Oh, and then we did get a few lifestyle questions in for Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving related items. We will cover that on next week's episode. And I think one of the best questions I saw so far was, who could eat the most turkey out of any Premier League player? So there's a tease for next week. We'll be back before the epic break here in America. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you all next week. Good luck out there.
Thank you.